Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Athlete and Artist Show. I am the artist, Kyle Forge, alongside the athlete, professional hockey player, Zach Boychuk. No guest this week, but coming off our most viewed episode in the show's history, Austin Eckler last week. We'll get into that and some big losses in the betting, in the sports betting over the last weekend, Chucky. But Chucky, you're right in the middle of Champions League hockey tournament. How's that been going? You guys been doing pretty good the last couple of games, I think. Two wins in a
Yeah,
row, 3 wins in a row.
we had a really good weekend. It right now we we couldn't play in our big rink, so we're playing in our like old smaller rink. It only seats like 4 or 5 thousand people, but it brings back like old memories for the fans that went to the Welly back in the day, and it just like has a good history. And I think there's like a indoor tennis event or something they're setting up at the Uber Arena or the old Mercedes-Benz Arena. So
Oh,
we played against two Czech teams this past weekend and had really good showings. The first game we ended up winning a shootout, and the second game we won 3-0. So I think we're in eighth or ninth place overall, which if you stay in the top 16, you move on to the next round. So
nice.
we definitely, I think the magic number for us is like we need at least three more points, and we're guaranteed to make the playoffs into the next round. So the next two games are one's in Freiburg, I think, and then another one is I think at home against a Danish team. But the Champions League are fun games, and they just kind of the first little bit of the leg is kind of finished up, and now we get into our regular season starting Friday with the German league.
Oh yeah, that's crazy that you have to play both of them at the same time.
Yeah, it basically goes on throughout the year. Like we'll have games again, I think in October maybe, but then if you make it to the next round, you'll have games in November and February. So it's like
That's wild.
you gotta kind of pay attention to both leagues and focus on the task at hand. I remember watching like Geneva last year in their regular league in Switzerland. They were like barely making the playoffs. I think they were in like ninth or tenth place, and they ended up winning the whole Champions League by the end of the year.
No
Same
way.
team, like just they ended up getting the crown for best team in Europe, but then they were also like 10th or 11th place in their own Swiss league. So kind of crazy how you can have a season like that where mid-season you could be celebrating a championship in February and also like possibly not making the playoffs.
That's crazy. So when does Champions League actually end?
I think it's in February,
It's February.
somewhere because we have a couple breaks that normally if you get the break you get a bunch of time off, but if you're playing in the Champions League, you're traveling to one city to play one game, and then you're coming back home to play, and it's like total goals for and against is well, I got a wasp right in my.
Oh,
He wants to come in the podcast, I
there we
guess.
go. There's our guest for the week.
There's
He's
our
buzzing
guest.
around. Where'd he go?
But yeah, so it's like it's basically one home, one and away, total score, and whoever wins moves on to the final round, and then the final round is a pretty big deal if you can make it to that. Same thing. I'm pretty sure it's home and away. Might actually just be one game, winner take all, but um,
Hmm.
we're focusing on this round and trying to get those magic 3 points, and then also focusing on our German league that starts Friday.
That's insane that they. I thought it ended earlier for some reason, but yeah, I guess that's kind of like soccer too out there. They have their league championship, and then they'll have like their tournaments kind of mixed in, or like qualifier mixed in and stuff like that. It's just interesting how
Yeah,
they do it.
I feel like it in Europe it's like endless leagues in soccer. Like it's
Yeah,
they have like at least three or four big leagues that go on, or big tournaments, whatever you want to call it. And
yeah.
I guess they're just trying to make as much money as they can because soccer's so big over here. The more tournaments you have, more championships you can
True.
win, and the more fans are going to go to the games. But the
That's
Champions
true.
League in hockey is still a work in progress. Like a lot of teams don't get the same draw and the same amount of fans that they get for their regular season games. So
Oh, really?
I've seen uh, I've seen some teams do really well, like Sheffield. They're a hockey team in the UK. They're getting like 8 or 9 thousand fans for a Champions League game, which can be more than some of the Swedish and Finnish or Swiss teams that just don't really care about the Champions League at all. They get more fans for their regular season games, but it's getting better, and we're happy to be back in that championship tournament this year, trying to move on to the next round.
Yeah, that's has a team ever won both? Well, I guess it's um they probably have, but has a team ever won both like their league and the Champions League tournament? Like a Dell team
Um,
or
I feel like a Swedish team might have done that.
yeah.
Like Frölunda, they've done really well over the years. I think they've won a few times and also won their Swedish league. But I know like Sheffield in the UK, like in soccer, if you win the championship, that's just the standings. So whoever gets first overall in the standings during the season, that's who wins the big like that's the biggest deal. So you party and have a good time doing that. And then the Sheffield team also won. They just do like a really short little playoff thing. And then they also have their own like little tournament that they do. It's called like the Challenge Cup or something.
Okay.
And they won that. So it was like a triple crown, which you hear about a lot in soccer. Like you want to win um, these other random tournaments, but also win the standings. So last year,
Right.
if it would have been like that for us in Germany, Bremerhaven would have won instead of
Mm.
us, like because they beat us the last game of the season to finish first seed, and we finished second seed. But yeah, kind of weird how different leagues and different sports change around their championships and what means more.
Yeah, that's interesting how they have it set up like that. For how's the team looking in terms of regular season? Like, were you guys aiming for another back to back, another repeat, or
Yeah, our team's looking really strong this year. We pretty much have the same goalies, very similar core forwards, um, and the D's changed quite a bit.
yeah?
We've made a couple big pickups throughout the summer, but I think there's only like 4 or 5 new guys on the team in total. So we should be up there as a team that's a favorite to win it, and with how well Champions League is going, playing against some really good like Czech teams and playing against some Finnish teams in preseason and Swedish teams, I feel like we're ready to have another good start and hopefully try and win another championship.
Back to back. Only man, that would have been sick if it wasn't for that just 1 year. It could be three in
Hmm.
a row, four in a row.
Yeah, three or four in a row would be pretty crazy. I think there's a Czech team
Dynasty.
that's won 4 or 5 in a row, which
Really?
was be pretty impressive. Like and the teams are really good there. They were like a fourth or fifth seed and still won um to make
Wow.
it their fourth or fifth in a row. But it's a tough thing to do. I mean, there's not as many teams over in our league. I think there's only like 12 or 14 teams, so a little easier to do than in the NHL where there's 31 or 32 teams, but
That's fair.
still pretty impressive either way.
Yeah. Speaking of the NHL, news coming out of the NHL, Sid the Kid resigns in Pittsburgh. 2 years, 8.7 mil. I mean, just
Yeah.
keeping it with the superstition, with the ritual. It's hilarious watching all these TikTok videos too, or like Instagram reels, whatever, of people like Chippy, Coach Chippy made one for the guy, his agent trying to convince him to take more. He's like, yeah, Sid, pretty sure you get like 10.87. Like maybe do it for your agent, Sid. Do it for your agent. No, I don't need the
Yeah.
money. You got to take a team
No,
friendly deal.
he just wants to win. And I think like 17 out of the 20 years, his cap hit's going to be 8.7 million. So
That's insane.
pretty crazy to have that type of stat. obviously he could have got paid a lot more his
Yeah.
first couple deals, and now especially this deal. I don't think anybody would have been surprised if he was making over 10 million. He's the heart of that team, and um, but he's just unselfish, wants to give themselves the best chance to win, and pretty funny that it was another 8.7 year.
Yeah. Another 8.7 years, isn't it? Didn't he sign for 2 years? Or was it just one?
Two
It
two
was two.
years, yeah. I
Yeah,
think it was
that's
like 17.4 million total.
man.
Yeah, I sent the tweet out. I was like 17.4 divided by two. What does that equal? 8.7. Sidney Crosby.
Man, good for him. I mean, I I definitely feel like he'd get over a 10, especially after his last season. Like last year, he lit it up last year. He's still
Yeah,
he's still playing at an elite level for his age, for how long he's been in the game. I don't know how good of a chance Pittsburgh in general has to be successful or to make a deep run. I mean, they barely missed last year, so maybe. But what are your thoughts on the team in general? Like, do you think it's worth him to take a team friendly deal to chase another championship, or do you think it's more just him, being him?
I I think it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. Like they lost Gensel, they lost Smith, they've lost a few guys that um, I don't know who they would possibly bring in at this point to try and to fill those gaps, but um, they're kind of a team that's gotten a little bit older, and maybe that is why he only took the 2 years. He wants to see how it goes for the next 2 years, and maybe in 3 years he'll go play with McKinnon, or he'll go on a cheap deal with the Maple Leafs or something crazy. It'd be insane to see Sid with a different jersey on, but
Oh yeah,
um, it definitely gives them the option to bring somebody in. But I don't know if I even see them making the playoffs this year, to be honest.
yeah. It'll be tough. It's I mean it's tough in Pittsburgh watching them go from like their dynasty where he won so often and they were at the top of the league so often to now like Sid's what is it Sid and is Letang even still there?
But Tang's there
It's like
for quite a few more years. I think Malkin only has like 2 years left. So
yes, so it's those three
so
guys
that
from the
core
core left.
core group of players is kind of starting to get older, and who knows who knows if the cupboard's stocked. It seems like they don't have
Yeah,
any prospects coming in, so we'll see
no,
see if Dubas can work some magic over the next couple of years and convince Sid to resign or keep
yeah.
playing.
I don't think
Maybe he retires. I don't know.
I don't think Magic and Dubas go in the same sentence, but personally,
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter. I'm still upset about that. So
yeah,
I don't have a lot of magic words for him either.
wouldn't give you the contract. He's like stop unfollowing me on Twitter.
Yeah, just
Uh,
trying to get a job, Dubas.
he's trying to be the social media guy. You're like, hey, just
Yeah,
sign me to. I'll take league man. I'll run the Twitter. Just
yeah, there you go. I can do it all. Player coach slash social media guy.
there you go. I mean, this comes right after Draisaitl, just the biggest ticket in history. I mean, until
Yeah,
McDavid resigns, we think anyway. But yeah, I remember that the Oilers talking about these guys taking team friendly deals, or a couple of guys talking about taking the team friendly deals to keep the core intact. And I mean, this definitely doesn't seem like boys wanted to take team friendly deals.
no, not in Edmonton. They're getting paid what they're owed, and you see other teams around the league like Boston who all seem to have taken friendly deals over the years. Detroit, they're all kind of keeping it in around like what Larkin's making. I think is around 8.7. Most guys have to be under that, and
Yeah.
um, not in Edmonton, not in Toronto. Those guys, big markets, I guess, they're getting paid.
14 mil, 14 bananas a year.
Yeah,
Like
what's
that's
McDavid gonna get though?
what'll the cap be next year?
I
Like,
think yeah, because you can make up to a certain percentage of the cap, right? And
yeah.
it'll max it out.
supposed to be 88 million. Oh, that's this year. 25, 26. So it'll be for 2020, 25, 26, it'll be 92 million.
And that's
So
when he's got to resign, right?
I think so.
After that year.
Yeah. Or going into that year, I think. So isn't McDavid after this year he resigns, right? Or is
Not
it 2 years?
after this year. He's got one more, two
Oh,
more.
does he? Wish I
Yeah.
could look on cap friendly, but freaking Capitals.
No cap friendly anymore. There's other websites though.
Puckpedia. That's the one I'm looking at.
What are you looking at? Puckpedia?
Puckpedia, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, 25, 26. Yeah, so after that year, so it'll go up even more by the time he resigns.
It'll be close to 100 million, and I think you can make around like 20% of the total cap. So it'll be close to 20 mil.
I mean, I think deserved for sure. I think hockey players are underpaid compared to, you look at baseball especially. I mean, these guys don't even have to be athletic. I mean, a lot of them are obviously, but I mean, there's not a lot of risk factor playing baseball. Then you look at the NBA, those guys are getting paid 20, 30 mil a year. Football, like we kind of talked about last week, makes sense because the risk factor is there. I mean, it's just collisions every time, every play. But obviously from the business standpoint, the NFL, NBA make a lot more money than the NHL does. Even the MLB, kind of the NHL is like if you would even still call it one of the big four, it's kind of like the lowest on that tier. But risk factor wise, obviously, and entertainment wise, I think hockey players are very underpaid for the damage their body has to go through per year, how many games they have to play. You know, it's, I mean, you've been in the league, you tell me. Do you think the boys are underpaid?
Well, I think especially like the superstars, the big guys like McDavid, and if you compare those guys to what all the other sports teams are making, it's not even close. And Draisaitl's now the highest paid guy. He'd be like the 76th highest or something in the NBA or the NFL.
Yeah.
Like the stats are just crazy, but like you see, guys like that are generational, like Ovechkin and Crosby, and they should be making way more money. Like Bedard's coming in, McDavid, Draisaitl, like all these guys, Matthews, like they should be either getting equity in the teams or finding ways to get more money, because if you compare it to other sports, it's not even close.
Soccer too. I mean, soccer makes sense, I think, because of just how big it is globally. Like overseas, those guys just get stupid amounts of money. But I'm pretty sure those guys can get equity in teams too. Like the how they do it in soccer is kind of cool. Like depending on the leagues and to get guys like what Miami had to offer Messi to get him to go over there. Like ownership in teams, like the higher percentage on merch sales. I think some guys will get offered. Like which is kind of cool. But the one thing that hockey I think has that, I mean, we touched on it before, but the one thing that hockey has that like the NFL and the NBA and the MLB don't are you can make more in the lower leagues.
Yeah.
So like
true.
You go overseas, guys. I mean, guys still make a few $100,000 depending where they are, and even if they're not, like even if you have like a $60K contract or whatever, it's still tax free. You come back to Canada, you basically made 6-figure Canadian income. But like you look, I don't know how it is for basketball, but I mean those guys, there's no way those guys are getting paid a few $100,000 over there. You think like overseas?
I think there's
Football
some
definitely
leagues
not.
that pay. Like there's a few that might pay like in the millions, like for basketball, but there's no NFL stuff. Like not much baseball stuff. Like it's everything is North America, and like golf's obviously more global now. There's a bunch of different tours you can be on, and the Live Tour and all that. But hockey is definitely up there for being the most global sport and being able to extend your career and make a solid living from it.
Yeah, golf would be, if you could go back and play any other sport than hockey, what would it be?
Yeah, golf would be up there for sure. You don't get summers off, but you're basically enjoying the outdoors all the time, and you get to pick your schedule, and you're your own boss. It would be hard mentally, but if you're one of the top 100 in the world, it'd be a pretty good gig.
Yeah, it's tough mentally when there's nobody watching you. Like I couldn't imagine being on that course every weekend, 4 days a week,
Seriously,
people
you
lined
got
up
nobody
along.
else to blame except yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all between the ear. Like tennis would be pretty tough.
Tennis.
You know,
Yeah.
basketball. I'm definitely not tall enough to go and play basketball. That's definitely out. Football's out for me. I think baseball, they play way too many games. Like I just would not be wanting to play, 160 games, 162 games a year. So
And if you're making,
hockey's a good in between for sure.
yeah, I mean, baseball, if you're making 10 million, $20 million a year, though.
Yeah, you grind it out for whatever it is, 6 months, and you get the rest of the time off. It's not too bad.
Average MLB salary 4.1, I think, was in 2021
That's pretty good.
for an average.
The
Yeah, not
rosters
bad.
aren't all that big either.
Oh,
It's pretty tough to
4.9
make.
was in 2023, according to ESPN. 4.9 mil average salary. Would you take 4.9 mil, play 160 games a year?
I think so. Could do that.
What position would you play?
I always played like first base or pitcher because I'm a lefty. I can't
Mm.
play any of the other ones. Maybe outfield or something, but you can't be a shortstop as a lefty.
Can you not?
The timing and the
Oh,
footwork doesn't, when you throw it, it doesn't add up. So
weird.
it's
So
got to be first base or outfield.
you throw with your left?
Yeah,
It's weird. So
lefty.
I play golf and hockey left, but I'll throw a baseball with my right.
Hmm.
I'll throw a football with my left,
Really?
and
That's
then
interesting.
I'll kick a soccer ball with my right.
Yeah, I'm soccer left. I'm pretty much everything left.
It's so weird. I like a tennis or a badminton, whatever. I swing with my right, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're a little bit ambidextrous or whatever.
Yeah.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. Except yeah, if you're ambidextrous though, can you do things on both sides like the same, or can you just alternate depending on what it is? Because I cannot kick a soccer ball with my left with my life dependent on
Yeah, I think you should be able to do a lot of things like both ways.
Yeah, there's no
But
way. Like there's no way
like
I'm swinging a golf club right-handed. I could putt
no.
right-handed, but I'm not swinging the club. I could barely swing it the left-handed. You've seen me golf.
Yeah,
uh,
I think it all depends on what you grew up playing first. Like if you're a hockey guy and you playing hockey left first, you probably played golf left. Like that
yeah.
happens a lot in Canada, especially. Um, I think 30% of the golfers are left-handed, and you go to the States, it's only 5% of the golfers are left-handed.
Oh wow,
And that's a lot of it's because of hockey, I'm pretty sure.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ready to up your game? Sign up with DualBits and grab up to $100 in free bets. Whether you're betting on the NFL, NCAA, the NHL next month, or any one of your other favorite sports. With the best odds, NFL Sunday specials, and the power to request your own bets, DualBits is the ultimate platform for sports betting. Sign up now and grab up to $100 in free bets and get ready for an epic UFC fight night. Our bets didn't do great on the weekend, Chucky. DualBits. Bets of the
We were
week.
okay. We were what, 1-1?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of the fantasy too. So I mean, we bet on Sean O'Malley for UFC 306. O'Malley lost, which was crazy. That fight was a complete disappointment. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
I
a
don't know
lot of
what went on.
antics going on. Like the other guy was like kissing him on the back and
Oh
jumping
yeah,
around and doing all like these crazy stuff.
yeah.
Just
It
seemed
was
like a big show.
and right off the jump too. Like Merab got mad at Tim Welch, Sean O'Malley's coach, for he was yelling from the corner again. He said something like "Merab go" or something at him, and the ref caught him, which it's not even illegal. So I don't know why the ref was giving him a warning. But
Yeah.
Merab was mad because when O'Malley fought Aljamain Sterling, Merab was yelling at Aljo, and right before O'Malley knocked him out, Tim Welch was like, "Aljo, go!" And then he went for a leap and O'Malley just dropped him. Now, Aljo said he couldn't even hear him, which like I could attest to because I don't even hear my own corner whenever I fought. I mean, obviously these
Right.
guys have fought more and are at higher levels, so they probably hear their own corner a little bit more. But it's yeah, it's tough to hear in there. So having that happen, like, could it really affect you? Maybe. I can't really see it, especially at that level. Like, when your coach is talking to you, if they are talking to you. But yeah, so he lost. He was kissing him on the back, like you said. It was weird. Like Sean couldn't stuff a takedown. He looked a little bit better as kind of time went on, but just it looked like he was a little scared to let his hands go because Murad would take him down. But yeah, it is disappointing. Hopefully O'Malley will be back. Love him. Think he was great for the sport. Washington Commanders, our boy Austin Eckler got us the win against the Giants,
Big
which was
win
nice.
by half
Big
a
win.
point. What do we
Yeah.
have? -2.5, and they won
Yeah.
by 3.
Yeah. 21-18. Spread was -2.5. Just pulled that one out. Fantasy, not great. Our fantasy league that week, 431 out of 483. So 101 total points. Not great. Not
Yeah,
great.
that was not a good one.
Not
Mr.
great.
Pfizer let us down. Travis Kelce had a tough week.
Oh, man. I mean, good thing we had Kittle. At least Kittle had 20 points. But yeah, Kelsey had 1.6. Cooper on Cleveland and 4.1. Cup had
Yeah, he's been horrible
7.7.
for my fantasy team.
Yeah, I don't know why we took him. We'll drop him next week or this week. The Chargers though did well. I mean, Dobbins had 20. Oh yeah, we had their defense. Their defense had 11, so it wasn't terrible. Eckler 11-5.
Yep.
Rodgers was 15. I guess that's okay for a quarterback, eh?
Yeah, it was about
Uh,
average, I would say. Like,
yeah,
big win for the New York Jets, and Rodgers is
yeah,
on the mound. It's pretty good to see him make that comeback from last year.
for sure. Do you have any bets going into this week? Any NFL? Any WNBA? Any golf?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Jets to beat New England Patriots. I think that's one game that I'll be really keeping an eye on. The spread right now is -6.5 for the
Yeah.
Jets on dualbits.com.
That's the
And
highest spread
then
we've seen so far, I think. Since
that's a
we
big one, but I don't know. I just think Rodgers has that team rolling, and um, I don't think New England's very strong this year, but they do have 1 or 2 wins already on the season.
Yeah.
The other game I'll be interested to see is Carolina Panthers because they sat their number one QB.
I was just looking at it against the Raiders too. Spread's 5.5.
5.5, yeah, that'll be a tough game, but maybe Carolina will bounce back after trying the new QB.
Yeah, maybe. We've not been doing well. Not been doing well so far. But
Andy Dalton, he's in.
we'll see. I mean, at least if he knows which guy to line up behind on center, then that's a plus. So,
Step in the right direction.
yeah, exactly. Anything besides football? So you're gonna should we? I think yeah, I'll take Carolina on that, and then you're gonna take the Jets. You said, hey, spread.
Yeah, I like the Jets over the Patriots.
All right, all
I
right.
think Rodgers is gonna have a big weekend. Or I think they play Thursday, so be
Ooh,
watching that game.
yeah, we'll get that in. We'll stream. Well, this episode will come out Friday, but we'll stream. We'll be streaming tomorrow, Wednesday. So we'll place the bets tomorrow officially. Maybe look at some other little ones in NFL. Some dual bits casino games maybe, but yeah, that'll be Jets and Panthers for sure. Maybe take a look at some other games. I feel like there was something else I wanted to chat about, but I forget what it was now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Free
NHL's
agency.
coming
Oh,
soon. I'm excited. I'll see if Dualbits has like preseason games that you can bet on. That'd be like a
yeah,
complete gong show to see what types of rosters and lineups are playing during those games. But
yeah,
um, Yeah, it's exciting time. A lot of sports are coming back. The summer is over. Everybody's back to school, and football's back, and hockey's coming soon.
Yeah. Tyson Berry, I think that's what it was. PTO for the Flames. Crazy that Tyson Berry's on a PTO.
Yeah,
I'll
he's a good
definitely take
player.
him. I'll take him on the Flames all day, I think. In
Oh yeah, for
Nashville,
sure.
in Nashville, he was a little shaky, but yeah, I mean, the Flames need all the help we can get, so I'd take him on the Flames for sure. Especially you're gonna get him on a PTO deal. You're gonna get him for cheap after coming off of that if he makes the team. So I
I'd
think
yeah, he'll be really good for the power play. I think
yeah,
Calgary is really moving towards skill and um, more fun to watch teams. So hopefully they keep building around that skill. I've been
yeah,
seeing some of the young stars games. That Perek looks really good. Their
yeah,
first rounder. Is he for? Yeah, he was really high pick, right?
yeah. He
And
was their first rounder.
no, I think Conroy is going to turn the ship around there. Just bring a bunch of skill guys, try and win every game 8-7, and the Flames will be fun to watch.
Yeah, I hope so, man. We need the ownership to just take a step back and just let the GMs be GMs, especially
Yeah,
Conroy. But we'll see. The other biggest thing before I forget it again, the NCAA committed their first major junior player out of Regina Pats. You see that?
I did see that. Will be interesting to see if that actually goes through or not. Because this year he's going to play for Regina, right? And then he committed to ASU or something in
Yeah,
Arizona State.
yeah. Braxton Whitehead of the Regina Pats committed to um, ASU for the 2025-26 season. So he's challenging their ruling. If you're listening, you don't know, um, NCAA eligibility does not allow major junior players. So any league that falls under the CHL, the WHL, the QMJHL, or the OHL, those anyone that plays in that league is not eligible to play in the NCAA. Mainly because they're classified as semi-professional, and the NCAA does not allow professional athletes to participate, and that stemming obviously before the NIL kind of era came into the NCAA. So now players are allowed to get paid in the NCAA. So it only makes sense that they would allow these major junior players to play in the NCAA. Um, there'll definitely be some eligibility requirements. I think I don't. It'll be interesting to see if it does go through by 2025. That for right now, there's like a scholarship program in place with Canadian schools, right? So Zach, if you didn't go to the NHL, you would have had each year that you played in the NHL, or sorry, in the WHL for Lethbridge. Basically, the WHL is going to pay for a year of Canadian schooling. Now, I can't see the WHL doing that for the NCAA because it's obviously a Canadian league. They want to support Canadian schools. But I can see there being a rule like CIS or U Sport now, Canadian schools can't recruit players until their 20-year-old year. So it's like an unspoken rule,
The-
an unwritten rule type thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like an unwritten rule where you can't recruit guys that aren't done their year yet, or the WHL will basically blacklist those schools. So they'll have to figure something out there because I mean NCAA schools will come in and scoop up a stud 18-year-old in the dub just like they do with the junior A. But that's the other thing is this will completely dismantle Canadian university hockey and potentially junior A. So it'll be
yeah. It could change the landscape a lot. Like, I mean, you see guys maybe end up going to school or going to the WHL for like maybe 1, 2, 3 years. And by the time you're 18, maybe you want to go to school for your 18 and 19-year-old year.
yeah,
So you end up leaving to some awesome school like, ASU and play a couple years there. You might already be drafted by then, and then you can turn pro like whenever you want. So it will shake up, the junior leagues in Canada. It'll shake up the USHL, the AJ, like all these leagues, um,
yeah.
the BCHL. Like it's going to be interesting to see what happens um, the next year or two, because I don't see why the NCAA isn't letting these players play in the first place. Like, you don't really make much money as a WHL player. You might get $50 every 2 weeks that'll basically fill your gas tank, but you're definitely not getting any type of pro salary.
Yeah.
And I think, if you want to go to a big school in the States, a D1 school, you go to Boston, or, go to Minnesota, go to all these like really, really fun schools with nice facilities, um, and further your career and give you a little bit more time to develop before you turn pro. I think you should be able to do that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely think it should be allowed. It'll be sad to see like Junior A take a hit, but I mean, I don't think there's any reason for it to not be allowed, especially with the NCAA allowing athletes to get paid now. So, yeah, we'll see if it happens. I remember this past year at the Max Major Midget Tournament, or the Circle K U18 Classic, whatever it's called now. But I was talking to a bunch of NCAA coaches and scouts there, and they were like, yeah, it could happen as early as this year, and that was last year. And then the coaches voted against it, so now it being brought back up, it seems like they're going in the other direction now. So they're kind of running towards it, which will be, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what the eligibility requirements or the regulations are behind it too. But time will tell.
Because like before, I think, at least when I played, I think even if you went to a camp or any type of summer thing, definitely you couldn't play in a preseason game. If you played in a preseason game, you're ineligible to play NCAA. So now it gives, some of these other schools more players to pick from. It might make NCAA a little bit more exciting to watch, and you get a lot of more high-end picks. Guys like Cale Makar won't have to go to play in the AJ and play in Brooks. He would have played in WHL and then moved on to college, and probably still played in the NHL at 19, 20. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
Another thing too, I was talking to the head of player recruitment at MRU, Donnie Goudreau, and he was saying that like there's another thing too about these NCAA teams wanting, or like going after, let's say, a 20-year-old in the dub. It's like, will he be already too kind of deep into the major junior culture? Like, is he going to be able to go back and now go into an NCAA kind of locker room? Like, will they want a guy like that? Because they're two different cultures, right? Like major junior and college hockey type of thing. So it'll be interesting to see, a guy who hasn't had to care about school for a few years now, and now he's got to go back and he's right in the thick of a gigantic university. So it's like it'll be interesting to see too.
Guys are doing it in Canada already. Like,
yeah,
especially if you play your 20-year-old year, you're probably not turning pro. There's very few guys that do. They usually go to a Canadian college, and I think a lot of guys do just fine doing that. You get back into the flow of school, and you can still continue your pro career after that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how many guys stay for 4 or 5 years, or how many guys leave after 2 years. Like it's going to completely change everything. And
if they're allowed to even leave after 2 years,
yeah, they might not even make that. So it'll all depend on the regulations and how the NCAA votes, and it might come down to the courts. Like, it could be state to state. I know there's some big lawsuits, class action lawsuits that are happening right now. So we'll see how those turn out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. A lot of things changing. Excited for the season to kind of get rolling. You mentioned it. We're getting rolling with the young stars this past weekend. So hockey is just around the corner. Yeah. Anything else to add on before we head out, Chucky?
No, we got definitely thank our partner Dual Bits and Rumble. Obviously, we've been getting a lot of traction on Rumble, and I think it was right now 127,000 views, like you said. So pretty crazy that we're getting that many eyeballs, and now we're posting our full podcast episodes to Twitter as well.
Yeah,
figured that out. So
we I shouldn't say we. I should say I accidentally subscribed to a year of Twitter Premium on the podcast page. Cost me $130 or whatever it was. Won't refund me. So, but at least we can post our podcast fully on Twitter now. So that'll be great.
Yeah, full episodes.
Full episodes.
Go watch them on X.
Thanks,
Elon.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get an Elon tweet now that we're getting our show on there. Maybe we'll get a little Tucker Carlson deal. He'll give us the retweet.
Yeah. Get us some good guests for next week.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Awesome. All right, stream this week. Oh, you probably, by the time this comes out, you'll have already seen the stream. But NHL coming up. Athlete and Artist Show presented by Dual Bits Rumble. Thank you for watching. See you guys next week.